How does one get into an Ivy League?
Yeah, so it's a great question. My advice to someone or a parent who's thinking about an international school or outside of Kenya is to be mindful that there are financial aid organizations at each institution.
No. All my listeners are wealthy.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's really a joke.
And so, but on a serious note, that's it's a great place to start, because sometimes this can seem a little bit lofty in terms of accessing some of these institutions, and many of them have scholarships. Majority of them have scholarships. Many of them have full ride scholarships that people don't know that are tailored.
What's a full ride?
Sorry, full ride is fully paid for institution.
So that includes your tuition, your accommodation, your general upkeep, food.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And so starting there is always a nice conversation if one is thinking about a particular institution. The other thing is, as an international, there's usually an international affairs office that's dedicated just to students who are thinking about or who are already at such an institution. And so starting a conversation early on with them as well, just to glean out what are the processes that I go through. Is there somebody that can help me go through my application that sometimes can also be a bit lofty, a bit complicated to fill out?
We've been applying for visas for the majority of our lives. Complication is in our DNA. No, but seriously, so you can get an academic scholarship, but you can also get like a sports scholarship.
That too, potentially, might be a bit more challenging from the international context, because a lot of the students that they're recruiting from some of these schools, they've been doing so in the U.S., watching them for long periods of time.
Okay.
But I'm probably not the best person to answer that. But yes, that may also be an option. And also when one arrives, I've known friends, for example, who once they arrived on campus, then they competed for a sport and were able to join the team retrospectively or after the fact, and then we're able to get a scholarship that way.
Okay, all right.
For me, and I think this is my takeaway. You can shine wherever you go.
Did you get a scholarship to Nebraska?
So I didn't to go there.
Okay.
I got in-state tuition, which is cheaper. Like it's like local being a local tuition because we were born there.
Yeah.
But I was one of those that got there and just was, pinned to success, pegged to doing medicine. And I found this really awesome pre-medicine scholarship that I applied for. I was one of two to get it in my year.
Rusinga.
And it paid for, what's that?
Rusinga. Go ahead.
Thank your magic teachers. At work. Great.
Thank your teachers.
No shade. Yeah, honestly, shout out to Mr. T.A., our really, really fantastic headmaster, Mr. Nganga, my high school teacher. Anyway, Mr. Muturi for teaching me French. Anyway, on a serious note, I got one of these retrospective scholarships that paid for all of my tuition thereafter. And so I was coming out of undergrad and then med school with significantly much less than what a lot of people do. So
did you have to take out a student loan because you are an American citizen? So even with that partial scholarship, even with your parents being directors and whatever they were doing, you still had to take out some student loans to make things work?
Yeah, exactly. So so I think it's a great question in terms of it's sort of a standard thing with a lot of U.S. institutions. If you're going to school there, expect to probably take out some type of a student loan. They're heavily subsidized, meaning reduced in cost. Usually there's no to limited interest on them, so there's no additional money added to them.
Are those open to foreigners?
Some of them, yeah. So that's where I say talking with a financial aid office, because money is a practical barrier.
Yes.
And then of course the other part is smarts, right? Just working really hard. Doing well on your SATs as well as your own high school, and then interviewing can make or break an applicant.
Yes.
And so I also highly recommend, as someone who's done a lot of mentoring, to practice with somebody, maybe practice even with somebody who has who does particular training on this.
Yes.
I'll give one other.
I am open for consultation. It's a thing I do on the side. So if you need an interview partner or someone to coach you on interviewing for a foreign institution, hit me up.
I love it. Interviewing is a skill set that we highly overlook.
Thank you.
Highly.
Mother. No, but seriously, I got to play a song. Got some Nina Simone. But we're going to come back one more time so you can give some parting words. Thank you so much, Dr. Christine, for this very, very insightful words. SpiceFM.